What's up, guys? Making a YouTube video. Didn't really think I'd be making a YouTube video anytime soon. I've kind of been a bit touch and go with my YouTube channel, and I've kind of only decided to jump on and talk about stuff that really I think that I'm really passionate about talking about. So I wanted to talk about Star Wars. Now, I suppose I've got to say this because every other twat on YouTube says this before they criticise something. I've been a huge Star Wars since I was a kid. I've seen all the movies, I've got some memorabilia, I've played all the video games, blah blah blah, and all that bullshit. So the Rise of Skywalker, this new trailer's dropped. I've watched it, and I'll be honest, and this is just my opinion, and I know this is another thing I've got to say because I know how the internet works, where if you say something negative and then somebody who likes what you're talking about sees you saying negative stuff, instantly comments, or you get loads of bullshit. So yeah, this is just my opinion. If you like the new Star Wars trilogy, fan-fucking-tastic. I don't. I am really disappointed with this trilogy. Maybe it's because I'm getting to a point in my life now where I'm turning into a right miserable bastard, and everything pisses me off. And I'm not ashamed of that. I quite thrive on it at the moment. It's I find it quite exhilarating. I'm still a nice guy, but a lot of things piss me off at the moment, and I think it's maybe my age. I don't know if I'm getting to that age. I'm nearly 35. But yeah, so went to see The Force Awakens. Now I realise, and I've kind of accepted, that this trilogy, Star Wars isn't mine anymore. Star Wars was mine when I was a kid. It was when I was watching, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi with my dad, and that's when I fucking loved it. And I even like the prequels. I'm gonna say this: I prefer the prequels to the new trilogy. Wow, I know. But yeah, I like the old trilogy. I like the prequels. I don't think the prequels are as bad as everyone made out. Here's the thing, right? When the original Star Wars trilogy came out, everyone was blown away. It was like nothing nobody had ever seen. The special effects, the storytelling, the characters, everything just sucked you in. Anything that followed after that original trilogy was going to be criticised because it wasn't the original trilogy. Now, on reflection, and it's nice to see that a lot of people are actually kind of warming up to the prequel movies, but anything that came after the prequels, because in everyone else's mind the prequels were so bad, anything that came after the prequels was going to be fucking fantastic, and that's what's happened. So, and I do realise I've just jumped off a cliff. So The Force Awakens came out. I thought it was a total rehash of A New Hope. It was like a reboot almost. I do not like. I just didn't like the movie. I didn't like it. I thought there was. I think I've spoken about it on my channel before. I don't really want to go too deep into it, but I didn't like Rey. I don't like the way that she hasn't had any training. I don't like the way that she's just learned everything by magic. I don't like the way that she seems to just absolutely win. She's a total Mary Sue. Kylo Ren started off pretty cool, and he's just I don't particularly like him. I don't like the fact that none of the main characters, none of the old school characters, were actually in a scene together. That was a huge opportunity missed to get Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Chewbacca, C-3PO, R2-D2, Mark Hamill, all in one scene. I thought that was a missed opportunity, and I think that's something that will never ever get on screen ever again. The Last Jedi. I fucking hated The Last Jedi. I don't even want to get into it. I think it was a fucking awful movie. They should have kept the same director for the whole film, J.J. Abrams. He built up quite a lot of cool stuff in The Force Awakens with Snoke and all that sort of stuff, and then Rian Johnson just seemed to have come along and it was like kicking a kid's sandcastle over in a sandpit. Yeah, so he kind of ripped everything down. Rey's lineage. Is she a Skywalker? Who's her parents? Turns out, J.J. Abrams was building up this cool thing about her parents. She's been left on this planet, And then Rise, The Last Jedi, sorry, Ryan Johnson comes along and basically just says, yeah, she's a nobody. And now what they're trying to do is rectify it in this one, and it just seems like it's just paint by numbers. It's just like, let's release a film, let's listen to the feedback, let's listen to what people did like, what people didn't like, and let's fix it for the next film. So, The Rise of Skywalker, they're bringing back Palpatine. I'm kind of hoping that, I mean, I'm just glad it's finishing. I'm glad it's ending. I'm glad this is the last of the trilogy, because I think this trilogy has been an absolute shit show, to be honest. Again, just my opinion. If you liked it, cool. Doesn't make you any less of a person. Doesn't make you a bad person. Again, it's just my opinion, but I'm really glad that this trilogy is coming to an end. So they're bringing back Palpatine. It's almost as if they've kind of realised that Snoke was going, you know, we've killed Snoke off, shit, who's going to be the next big bad guy? Oh, I've got an idea, let's bring back Palpatine. When it could have just been awesome to have Snoke there. It was so cool to have him on there. You know, he was a very mysterious character, we didn't know a lot about him, and he was just, you know, killed off. So yeah, they've brought back Palpatine, which kind of pisses on the original trilogy in a way. I know Palpatine came back in the comics, and you know, he came back as like an entity, but not a lot of people know that. So it also kind of makes you think, well, okay, when he gets thrown down that hole on the Death Star by Vader, you kind of think, oh well, he's not dead then. That's kind of a bit of a, you know, I don't think that's very cool, because it's kind of like pissing on the old trilogy, but never mind. And what else? Rey's a bad guy, and it's almost as if they thought, right, well, we don't really know what we're doing with Rey. Let's just make her a bad guy. You know, a lot of people don't particularly like her. They think she's a Mary Sue. She's had everything given to her on a plate. She's learnt the Jedi mind trick just through fucking, you know, just having a go at it. I've got an idea. Let's turn her bad. Let's make her, you know, Dark Rey, and you know, she's got a double-edged lightsaber, and she's in a dark cloak. So yeah, obviously she's going to be a bad guy. Which means that Kylo Ren's probably going to turn good, hence the name, The Rise of Skywalker. So he's going to turn from the dark side to the good side, possibly have a battle with Rey. Not kill Rey, however, because she's already been confirmed for the next trilogy. So she's maybe going to be the next villain in the next trilogy. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if Mark Hamill's in it. They've said Carrie Fisher's the heart of this story, which is, you know, I think the way Carrie Fisher flew through space and was blown out of an airlock and flew through space was bullshit. Nothing against Carrie Fisher and her dying and everything like that, but I thought that was fucking arse. And also, the thing that I'm a little bit more annoyed about anything is the fact that they had to show that Rey reveal. It's like, why? I mean, I actually just tweeted about it, and I'm going to read the tweet that I did, and then I'm going to fuck off because it's red hot here, and I want to play some Destiny. But I literally just tweeted out, I think it says a lot about this film if you have to show a huge spoiler like that just to get people interested. What happened to surprising us? And I think that's right. I mean, I do think, like, they show too much in these trailers. Why did they need to show that? Why did they need to show Palpatine laughing at the end of the first trailer? Why did we need to see Rey as a dark, you know, as a Sith, essentially a Sith? Why did we need to see that? Why can't we just get surprised? Imagine how cool that would have been in the theatre to see Rey walking into a room as a Sith, or to hear, you know, Palpatine, or to see Palpatine before we've even, you know, I just think, yeah, it's almost as if they've done all this just to generate a bit more interest, because they know how badly they fucked up with The Last Jedi. Now, die-hard Star Wars fans and I'm not a die-hard Star Wars fan. I think I used to be, but I know for a fact that there's people out there that like Star Wars a hell of a lot more than me. There's people out there that have read the books. There's people out there that have read the comics. There's people out there that have got fucking tattoos, even though I don't think having a tattoo, you know, warrants anything to being a bigger fan of something than somebody else. It just means you've got a bit more time and money on your hands. But yeah, so I am going to go and see this film because I want to see how it finishes. I do think that this is going to lead into the next trilogy. I do realise that I'm not really doing a lot in this Destiny Strike, but hey, I can't talk and play at the same time. That's just my genetic makeup. I'm a man. Multitasking. So yeah, kind of just wanted to make a video there talking about this because I've seen a lot of people talking about it online, and it's something that I think I've got a bit of input in because, you know, I wasn't sure about The Force Awakens, went to see it 7 times, and each time I went to see it, I liked it a little bit less. The Last Jedi, I only went to see it once. Once was enough for me, and like I said, I will go and see this film. I'm not going to boycott it. I don't hate Star Wars that much to fucking do that. I'm actually really excited for a lot of the stuff that's coming on Disney Plus. The Mandalorian looks amazing. I think that looks really, really cool. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But you know, I realise that Star Wars is for a new generation now, and that is totally fine. But as an old Star Wars guy, yeah, I don't really have a lot of time for it now, and it also reflects bad for me on the original trilogies. I've gone right off the original trilogies, which is a shame because The Empire Strikes Back is my favourite film of all time. I thought it had the greatest twist in a movie of all time. Yeah, so I've kind of gone off the original trilogy because I know what follows after it. I also think that they've gone a bit OTT with Star Wars movies, and I think they need to dial it back a bit. That's probably why they're focusing more on TV series than films now. But I didn't actually go and see it, but I've watched Star Wars Star Wars Story Solo, the Solo movie. I actually quite enjoyed it. It wasn't as bad as, you know, I think it's because I went in with really, really low expectations. And I liked Rogue One. I thought Rogue One was good, and I didn't think the Solo Star Wars Story was as bad as everyone was making out to be. Quite enjoyed that because it wasn't all lightsabers and stuff like that. I think it's kind of cool that we're seeing this side of the Star Wars saga where it's not all about Jedi. I'm interested to see what the Obi-Wan Disney Plus things like. I'm quite interested to see all that sort of stuff. So that was my video. I don't really care what anyone thinks. That's just my opinion. If people want to comment, that's fine. But don't expect me to get all raged and butthurt about it. If you're going to start mocking me about my view. So yeah, that's it. Might make another video in the future, I don't really know. Like I said, I don't really bother with this channel anymore because I think YouTube is just one big fucking echo chamber where everyone's talking about the same shit. But yeah, it's good to vent now and again. You shouldn't bottle things up, but thank you very much.